Hey everyone, this is the Halifax Real Estate Podcast. My name is Jason Paul and I'm a licensed realtor at Keller Williams Select Realty in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm here to help you gain a better understanding of real estate in Halifax and introduce you to a wide variety of people that work in or with our industry as well. Richard Payne has been a licensed realtor in Halifax since 2012, founding and establishing his Halifax Homes and Lifestyle brand within eXp Realty. Over the last 8 years, Richard has witnessed firsthand the real estate market shift from the slower buyer's market to the hot seller's market we find ourselves in today. Please welcome Richard Payne. Hey Richard, how are you?
I am good, Jason. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
No worries.
So I guess the first question is, how long have you been a realtor for?
Oh, we've been 8 years now. Just going to 8 years. It'll be 8 years in May next year.
Oh, congratulations.
So, yeah, I can call myself a veteran.
Can you? Is that the number we're looking for?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Let me know because I'm at 3.5 now. So.
Oh, you're a rookie.
How did you get in? How did you become a realtor? Like, what was the path?
Right. So in the UK, you can tell from the accent that we're not Canadian. We did a couple of flips. One of them was, to get ahead in the UK market at the time, I'm like early 20s. You're not sitting there with hundreds of thousands of pounds, so to speak, in the bank, ready to buy houses. So you buy the cheapest one possible, and then you throw yourself into it and you fix it up. So we did that once, sold that one. Took the profits from that and then rolled it into the next one. The next one was when it's like, okay, now I've got to get married to the wife. God love her. She puts up with me. And so after the wedding, then we had the first child. Then we had the second child. Somewhere in the middle of that, I got my chartered accountancy exams as well. So there was a very long gap of like, what are we going to do now? And during that time was when we were like, okay, this leads into the why did we come to Nova Scotia story, which was, if we sell this house back in the UK in Cardiff, we're going to make some really good money. But look at what we're going to have to spend to buy the next one. And it just became that like too unobtainable in terms of cost.
Yeah.
So then, cut to long story short, we end up here in Canada, Nova Scotia, found Fall River. Everything carried on as normal, decided to have another child during this process as well, just to really give a bit of stress into your life. But got the accountancy job, but had I call it my 40-year crisis, my midlife crisis, because in that time of being the accountant, we'd bought 5 income properties during the time, because we took the money from the UK that we made when we sold the house
and
brought
reinvested
it all over here.
Yeah.
Turned it to Canadian, very nice exchange rate,
yeah.
2.3 Canadian to the sterling.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore, so we did the right thing. But took a lot of that money and said, what can we do with it to create the future?
Wealth.
Income properties.
Yeah.
Properties tend to grow up in value. If you nurture them, kiss them, cuddle them, treat them well, look after the tenants, you get cash flow. So we did all of that, but then you get to the breaking point of like, well, what are we going to do now? So that's when I had my like kind of 40-year epiphany, when I'm in the accountancy company going, yeah, there's 3 people ahead of me that are all flatline management. I've got 4 guys working alongside me, all at the same age, all at the same qualification. People below us, there's only 3 levels of like hierarchy of management. I'm just waiting for somebody to, no offense to the people that are above me, die.
Yep.
Or find another job. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to change jobs. It's the longest time I'd actually stayed in a company. So it was like 5.5 years. What can I do now? So then you start looking at real estate going, yeah, it'd be good to buy a few more income properties, because if we just had a few more, I could probably just keep doing that and not have to go and earn a salary.
Yeah.
But how do I do that? I know. Let's become a realtor.
Oh, God.
I know. Yeah. I should have this conversation with my wife. Oh, my heavens. So that's how we got into it, was the simple, I want to buy more income properties. How do I find them where I can actually get paid for finding them? So that's how it came into my mind to become a realtor. And it was a complete and utter change. Like, anybody who meets me was like, I'm sorry, we're an accountant? Like, how the hell did that work? So it was a very interesting conversation that you have with people when they say, what do you do? Well, just try and guess. And you go through all the spectrum of what I could have been, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm an accountant. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, no, yeah, I am.
Big, loud personality.
Exactly. Like, you're not an accountant. Well, I faked it for 20 years, so I must be good at it. So that's how we got into real estate.
Okay.
But the biggest thing for me was we were the guinea pig crew of actually doing everything online. So it was like the home correspondence, they ship you the books, you get the online course and study it that way. So I only had like 3 days in the classroom. And I'm like, well, this is perfect because I've got my day job, need to do my day job so that I can then literally go, okay, I'm now going to quit that $90,000 a year salary and I'm going to be a realtor. Another good conversation with my wife took place around then as well. So that's the thing. It's like, there's been at 40 years old, quitting a $90,000 a year job to go and be 100% commissioned with no safety net. Oh, yeah, there was income properties and there was cash in the bank, so I wasn't too stressed. But equally, you've just lost your medical insurance. There's no pension anymore. All of these things that kind of go through your mind. It's like, is this a good decision? So we did everything. Like we sat down and we cracked open the bottle of wine and like, what's the
two or three bottles of wine?
Yeah, a few. Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. So that's how we got into it. And then I think my biggest mistake was thinking, I'm from the UK. 5 years into this, there's a few friends, but there's not like the childhood growing through school friends, going into a team with friends. So there was no real circle of influence. There was no real people that knew who I was.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to literally throw everything into being a realtor and going to everything possible to find people who would know me. And that, I would say, is my biggest challenge, is the ego, shall we say, that I brought into it in year one to go, I got this, no problem. I can replace a $90,000 salary a year, no worries. Yeah, my first year, I made $43,000 gross income.
Oh, it's not
so
bad.
I had to pay all the bills out of that as well.
Oh, I know the costs when you say gross. I know how much comes out, and if people could see the cringe on me.
Well, that's why I was lucky I had a backstop. So, we got rid of a few of the income properties deliberately because we were like, we need to make sure that life carries
cash flow.
Exactly. You got to have cash in the bank to survive this thing. And, God love my wife, Jane. She kind of stuck through me. And it was rough the first year, like year and a half. I'd say I didn't really get into it and become good and like find a solid level until probably year 2. That's where it kind of was like, oh, this is what I've got to do every day, because going from a salaried employment, they just give you work to do. Here, do this.
You got to find work as a realtor. I always saw everyone my first year's write-off. Don't even call it a realtor. Whatever that thing was, I was not a realtor.
Yeah, exactly. I know how you feel. I've been there. Yes. But 8 years into it now, and it's a completely different kettle of fish now.
That's amazing.
And it's just one of those things that you're like, stupid, blind determination, faith. Even when Jane was having those conversations, you're like, do you think you should go and get a job? I'm like, no, I'm going to make this work. Hell no.
I've had that happen to me. I've had that one.
Yeah. You have a really bad day in real estate, you'll have that question again.
So it might be coming around the corner.
Yeah. Well, those conversations tend to start with you're having the conversation with yourself then. It's not Jane telling me that, because she doesn't know I've had a bad day. I'm just internally visualizing all the stuff that's gone wrong today, going, why am I doing this? But there you go.
Now the reason why I wanted you to be on is because the market is wonderful.
It is.
I've known you for long enough to know how diligently you watch the market. I know you're a very diligent student of the statistics and what's happening in the market.
Accountant, what can I say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I thought of this topic, and I think it's a great topic for the audience to find out what a realtor's opinion is on the market. And I thought, when I thought of this, I thought, oh, it has to be you. It has to be Richard Payne, because I know this. I know he knows everything that's going on because I've seen the spreadsheet.
Yeah. Oh, God love the spreadsheets. I'm an accountant. What can I say? Some things never go away.
Yeah. So I guess my first question is, how have you found the market in 2020?
Tough. Let's make no bones about it. For sellers, it's been fantastic. They've had a whale of a time, right the way since, it's, and a lot of people say to me, when did all this start? Because Halifax, it feels like it's just been a great market now. And I'm like, well, actually, let's go back to 2019.
I was going to say 2019, I think spring market 2019, because
that's when it started.
That was June 2019 was the first time I lost. I remember I went competing offers, and my client went $75,000 over asking, we came third.
Third.
In June 20. And I remember I went back to the office and I mentioned it to, I think, Ann and like another realtor.
Yeah.
And their jaws hit the floor.
Yeah, and they were like, you did what?
They were like, you finished third? And I'm like, yeah. And I told my clients if they lost, I would eat my shirt. So I had to call them. And I said that to them. And I had to call them and be like, do you want me to eat with ketchup or mustard? Like, how do you want me to eat my humble pie? And,
absolutely.
On to the next one.
Yeah. So that's the biggest misconception, I think, is yes, it's really hit home this year since about probably March, April time was when it really started ramping up. June was kind of the first time that you were like, okay, this has been solid sellers markets like for a good like 3-4 months now.
Yeah.
What's really going on? Because I keep track every single month of like what's going on. And the key thing we always want to talk about is sale to list price, average price, and how many months on market. So right now, since June, we've been at like the highest since June has been 1.3 months of inventory.
Yeah.
Right now in November, it's 1. So we had 592 homes active at the end of November. We sold in November 595. So that's basically 592 divided by 595 is 1. So if we list no more homes in December,
that's it.
We're done. And
January.
we keep selling the same as November, then we're done by the end of December. There are no homes available.
Yeah.
And that's when you see like numbers of 1 to 1.2 to 1.5 months of inventory. That's when it really hits home. So from a seller's point of view, and we're also down to like 32 days on market, which is like, I remember when I first started, it was like 127 days on market. Like, come on. So this is, from a selling point of view, it's amazing. The trick though for a lot of the sellers is, yeah, you could sell your house right now, but have you got somewhere to go?
That's the question, right?
It's the double-edged sword.
I love it when someone says, I should sell my house. I'm going to make so much money. And I'm like, do you have a place? And they're like, no. I'm like, you're going to lose all of it buying.
Yeah.
You're going to lose all your profit
difficulty.
when you go competing offers because now people are just writing a check.
Yeah.
It's incredible to watch. One number I love to watch in terms of the market itself is number of homes for sale. In HRM, and I look at the Halifax Dartmouth market.
Yeah.
And on Paragon, any realtor who's listening to this will know that.
Yeah, they'll know.
On Paragon, I've been tracking it since May.
Yeah.
And in May, we had 1,300 and some odd homes for sale in HRM. And as I said, the Halifax Dartmouth market, as of yesterday, because I look at the stats the first of every month.
Yeah.
We were down to 700 and something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's the market.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's almost that new reality. And the other thing a lot of people are asking is like, well, are we in a bubble? Like, let's talk to the elephant in the room.
That's a great question.
And from all of it, so understanding a bubble is, are we overinflated on what prices people are paying for versus the underlying value of that house?
Yeah.
One thing that will really tell you if that's true is when all of a sudden you find a lot of properties failing from being conditionally accepted. Someone's put the offer in and they're like, well, I've got to get my inspection, got to get my financing and all these things worked out. If you start seeing a lot of those going from being conditional to coming back to active again, and we are not seeing that. Like no. I've definitely seen some. And first question you always want to know from the realtor who's selling the house is, well, what happened? What went wrong?
Always.
Sometimes it's inspections, but sometimes it's financing. But the key thing I'm like, okay, there's 2 levels of financing here. Is the person who's buying the house not qualified to buy the house they're trying to buy, or is the house overvalued for what we're paying? And at the moment, it's coming back that no, because we're in this strong seller's market and buyers are actually having to go over asking price, multiple offers, emotion starts kicking in as opposed to like, what's the house really worth? Now we're looking at houses going, okay, it's listed for 250. Yeah, we need to be like close to 300, 280 kind of number to make sure you get it.
Yep.
Well, if that person was qualified by the bank to buy at 250, the person can't buy at 280 or 300. No. The house might be worth that, no problem. But the person isn't qualified.
Yeah.
So that's why financing is failing, not because people are going, well, the house is overpriced.
Yeah.
So that's always the interesting part that, until you actually ask those questions of the realtor, you'll just never know.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll just say, oh, it failed on financing. I'm like, well, which one? Was the house price too much, or was the person over leveraging themselves, debt coverage ratios and all of these things that the mortgage guys get into? So that's why they failed.
Yeah, and that's a great differentiation between the two.
Yeah.
Asking, is it the house or is it the person? Because nine times out of 10, it's when we say financing, it's the person.
Yeah, exactly.
when we're talking about a bubble, and this question gets proposed a lot with buyers.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the bubble to pop in 6 months' time, and I'll come by when everything's a lot cheaper.
Right.
And the way I look at it was I went back to like the 2015-16 market and looked at the stats.
Yeah.
And I've looked at, and like I said, I look at homes on market for sale. And the Halifax dollar market had 3,500 homes for sale in, I think, 2015 or 2016. I'll have to look back and check again. But the way I explain it now is we're at 700 now, 750.
Yeah.
For us to go, for this bubble that we're in to pop, and no one saw my air quotation when I said bubble.
I did.
Richard did. Yeah. For that bubble to pop, you need buyer demand to cease.
Yeah.
And you need at least 1,000 homes to flood the market.
Yeah, easily. Which is basically doubling, maybe even tripling what's going on right now.
The supply.
Yeah. So the question becomes, do we see buyer demand slowing down? No. Basically,
no.
Like, from everything that you're seeing, from that I'm seeing, from other realtors that we talk to in the market here, no, we're not seeing people moving here. I mean, I'd say that I'd say 50, maybe 60% of all the buyers I've worked with this year have not been in Nova Scotia.
No, they're moving too.
Yeah, they've been Ontario, they've been BC, we've had some Albertans, and of course we've had the Brits.
Well, the Albertans have had a market fail.
Oh yeah, they've had it.
It's spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
Things dropping by $150,000 to $200,000 in home equity, slashed off because of oil, unfortunately.
Yeah. Their market's deliberately tied to the oil sands.
Yeah,
which is tough.
Yeah,
that's hard to
when you have one economic power in your province, it's live or die.
Yeah, exactly.
But back to Halifax, of course, with it, I'm seeing it too in terms of the immigration from just within Canada, because I'm starting to find that people selling a house in Vancouver, where the average price point is 1.5 million now.
No, it's huge.
It's like
it's ridiculous.
3-bedroom, 2-bathroom shit bungalow on
that's a tear down and rebuild. Yeah, $1 million.
1.5, and then
why not?
And then you sell, and you look across Canada, you're like, where can I go?
Yeah.
Nova Scotia.
Exactly.
Oh, 1.5 million gets me private water.
Yep.
Private lot. 3,000 square foot home. It's incredible the amount of...
And it's the lifestyle that we're finding. People want that lifestyle. If you kind of look across, let's go into, like that northern lake area, Muskoka of Ontario. Like those prices for what you get up there are ridiculous. Yet here, you take that, let's say it's $1 million, you can buy the QE2 show home that's brand new built on Kinsack Lake out in the area of Fall River where I live.
Or spend $500 and win it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you do that? Did you win it?
No. I did not win it.
Yeah. So, and that's the difference is, that's not the cottage anymore. That's the home.
Yeah.
So now we're not traveling 2, 3, 4 hours north from our home in GTA somewhere to go to this lakefront cottage. We're living on the lake in a 4,000 square foot, brand new, amazing fitted, like in terms of countertops and flooring, floor to window ceilings. I've got a dock, and then, I can spend $1 million, $1.5 million on that. And this is where I live forever now.
Yeah.
So I can do that at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon if I feel like it.
So good.
I don't have to spend 3 hours battling with traffic. So that's why the guys from Ontario and the BC are kind of looking over here going, well, that's some kind of lifestyle you guys have got.
Also, our COVID, our COVID disease is very low.
Yes.
I mean, we're in a second wave right now. We're at, I think,
we've had a couple of 2-week issues.
125 cases, but then you look at Ontario, who posted, and I'm traveling to Ontario in like a few weeks' time for Christmas.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, they posted, I think, like 1,700 yesterday. So you're like, oh, good.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing is let's look at COVID-19 from the influx of people being able to work wherever they want necessarily within a few hour time zones of where the office may be. But, the amount of times I start with that email saying, hi, Richard, got to know you through wherever they've got to know me. But I've been talking to my boss and we're talking about relocating. There's an opportunity for me to kind of go and live back home or back to where the family is or wherever it may be in Nova Scotia. Here's my budget. I'm going to move in the next 3 months. Can we do that?
Amazing.
And you're just like, well, so long as you've got a good internet, which, in this world, unless you're kind of living somewhere really far out where you're on like cable internet.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, have you got good internet? I'm like, yeah, we got broadband. We got, fiber.
We're not in the Stone Age.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think sometimes people, and that's another reason we've been fairly underpriced, is people kind of stop looking from Ontario to the right.
No, Quebec.
Yeah, Quebec to the right.
Yeah.
So they stop looking at New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, because they're just like, oh yeah, we found what we wanted in Ontario. Now all of a sudden they're going, wait a minute, what are the prices like here?
What can I get?
So again, you start going back to are we in the bubble? Well, no, because a lot of the people that are in the big global economic banks and everything, they've been asked that question, and they've got like stacks more research than you and I could ever do, because they see everything across Canada. We don't do we really care what happens in Toronto and Vancouver and Calgary from a real estate point of view? Not really, because it doesn't necessarily affect you and I. So we don't care about that, but they're looking at those big markets. They're looking at Halifax and going, no, you've just finally caught up from where you always should have been maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So like, stop panicking and saying it's a bubble. You're just actually getting more realistic with where your property prices should be.
Yeah.
Finally.
Finally.
400 and whatever we are at the moment, 420.
I mean, you got your license in 2012, so I know how dead it was in 12, 13,
I had
14,
to work my ass
15.
off. Oh God, yeah.
I got my license in 17 when we were just coming
up.
out
Yeah,
and
exactly.
up. We were still in a buyer's market, but we weren't like, it wasn't hard for a sale. When you're selling.
Yeah. Yeah, so I remember like having the conversations with clients of, we need to do a price correction here. And that was probably like 2015, 2016, when you're kind of talking to your clients who've got this, $475,000 house, which today our average is $423. So we're not that far above that $423.
Yeah.
But, bigger house, it's kind of further out because it would be in the Fall River, Oakfield kind of area. And I distinctly remember having the conversation with them. I'm like, okay, we need to do a price correction here. And they were like, well, why? I'm like, well, we've been on the market for like 145 days here and we haven't sold the house, You talk to anybody today who's had the house up for 145 days, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you were reaching for the stars when you listed that house, clearly. Because there's only 3 things that will sell a house: the price, the condition, and the location.
Yep.
Well, you can't change the location. You can't really change, you can change the condition, but do you want to spend the money on it? So guess what's the other lever you can pull?
Price.
So, and I was just actually on the video that we do for the stats that we just did, I started talking then a little bit about, this is probably the first week, maybe 2 weeks, where I've actually been notified that some of the searches that we've got set up for clients are showing price changes.
Oh.
So I'm like, that's really interesting. So all of a sudden, we're not seeing necessarily, and I mean, admittedly, these weren't cheap houses. We're kind of in the 700-800 ranges.
Yeah.
But, put the house up for sale. The standard comment is, all offers to be in by 5 p.m. on Sunday, and lo and behold, nothing happens. They're still for sale.
Yeah.
Well, 10, 12 days after we looked at that property, which is don't get me wrong, it's a gorgeous home. All of a sudden, $45,000 price drop.
Love it.
And you're like,
harder than this market.
Yeah, which for sellers today, that's a really interesting thing for them to start seeing. Now, I think some of that is definitely, it's December.
Yes.
Realistically, is a buyer really, unless they really, really are hard shopping, they're probably like, well, I might just give it a couple of weeks break because we're coming to Christmas. Things will naturally slow down. I mean, no offense to lawyers or mortgage people, but they probably do shut down and don't work for 2 weeks over Christmas. So, even if you get an offer accepted, is the mortgage or the lawyer guy going to be able to do what they have to do during that time?
Everyone works from home now.
Yeah, true.
Everyone works from home now.
I'm doing lawyers and mortgage guys a disservice here by saying that. Sorry.
Everyone's
all of a sudden, I'll get hate mail from the mortgage brokers. I always work over Christmas. Okay. Yeah.
You mentioned a good comment in terms of buyers and they're searching. How are you finding buying a house at the moment for yours?
It's a tough conversation. Like, the hard thing is going back to that, like, what have you been pre-approved for?
Yeah.
Well, we've been pre-approved for 400,000.
Amazing.
Great. We need to look at like 360, 370 kind of price points, because if we're going to be in multiple offers, we might have to go up to that $400,000 number to get the house.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to fail on financing.
Yeah.
Because that's going to suck. Not only for you, but also, unfortunately, for the sellers.
Yeah, of course.
Now, if things go wrong with the property, well, that's a different conversation.
Yep.
Usually, we can, between the two realtors buying and selling, we can figure a way around it, through it, under it.
You can always
fix the those
You
inspection
can always
issues.
do negotiations.
Exactly, but I can't negotiate your financeability, if that's a word that I can use.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder pill to swallow. So it becomes a much deeper conversation at the very start of looking and searching for houses about, let's talk about the market. Let's give you a really good understanding of what we're going to be up against here, because we don't want to set you up for failure.
That is, I couldn't agree more. And every time I sit down with a buyer now, the first thing I do is explain the market and the market condition. Yeah. Because ultimately the condition of the market, whether it's a buyer's market, a balanced market, or a seller's market, like the hot seller's market we're in right now, the condition is entirely going to dictate your real estate experience.
Absolutely.
And the way I'm explaining to people right now is we're going to have to fail 3 houses before we find it. And why? Oh, because you know it's hot. You've heard it's hot. You don't understand how hot, because I'm going to suggest a price to you on the first house. You're not going to like it.
Nope.
and you're not going to listen, which is your right. The only thing we can do as realtors is advise and give information and let our clients make the best choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's their decision.
Exactly. And you're not going to listen, and you're going to come in lower than I suggest, and you're going to lose on competing offers. And then you're going to win the second one. You're going to say, okay, well, we'll go a little higher. And you're going to lose again because someone's writing their 4th offer, 5th offer.
They're more educated in the process than you are.
Exactly.
Further along that line.
And then you get to 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and you're like, and then the client will say, okay, what number? And you give the number, and they put it, and you might do like a nice personal letter, and you might help with conditions in terms of like giving the seller the closing date they want. And maybe giving some leverage on other conditions, but that's up to you. And then you get an accepted offer, and then you're like, oh, thank God.
And that's when the real work begins, because now we've got to inspect it, insure it, lawyer it, mortgage it. We've got to go through all of that. So, by no means do you think that like, great, we won the offer, life's easy from now on.
No.
Now it's just started.
The second that the actual battle begins.
Yes, exactly. It's like, congratulations, have a little champagne celebration tonight because we start work tomorrow.
Every time. I always I cringe when I see like congratulations to my buyer on accepted offer, because I'm thinking the battle, we call it a battle, but it's not really. But like the intensity has only just begun, because now we have and the way this market is right now, I don't know if you're seeing, but my conditions are like 5 days before.
I'm doing better. I'm on 6. I get one more day, just one.
My conditions. So like for people that don't understand, when you're trying to get financing approved in 5 days, and let's say you get an offer, accepted offer on Saturday, mortgage broker doesn't start his paperwork till Monday, because you can't talk to the bank until Monday. So that process, then you have until Wednesday, and you have to get in your home inspections. And I don't know about you, but mine are booked.
It's kind of that first thing. As soon as you get the feeling that you're going to be offering a house, you're already talking to your inspector to say, listen, are you free in the next week to make sure you get a time slot? Because it's much easier to get the time slot and then 2 days later have to cancel it.
Because someone else is going to fill right in.
Oh yeah, somebody else will take it.
Heartbeat.
Absolutely.
It's
good fun.
Oh, it's fun to buy.
I mean, and that's the hard thing, is all we're trying to do as realtors is give people the best advice possible for them to make the best decision on the right house that they love.
That's all we can do.
And, it's again, people are like, oh my God, I'd hate to be in this situation. And I'm like, it's tough. Absolutely. We can't make it any easier on them. And the market is the market. It's dictated by buyers and sellers and demand.
Demand and supply. Supply and demand. It's literally
there's nothing we can do.
The only thing we can do is, as you say, advise and give as much information as possible. And whatever happens. But as long as you educate, and every step of the way be more and more educated, then you can find a solution. But the problem is it's just being thorough and on top of it. I've won some competitions this year with a letter. Coming in lower than someone else, but writing, because the clients really wanted the house. They believed their kids were going to grow up there. They want to start a family. They just got married. It was wonderful.
See themselves in the home, enjoying the backyard and cooking barbecues on the deck in the summer, and all the kids running around, going to the school, getting into the community. And sometimes that can make all the difference in the world.
Exactly. Just being able to tell, and you writing the letter and submitting with your offer can sometimes move a seller, because maybe the seller is invested in the community.
Absolutely.
And it might not just be, their gains might be so exceptional anyway that it's not necessarily on
they
price.
might be like, actually this person gave me that little letter, really touched my heartstrings. I know it's only $3,000, $2,000 less, but actually, does $2,000 matter versus me selling the house to the person who I think is really going to enjoy and appreciate my house?
Exactly.
They'll do that.
Is there now for you and buyers, do you have any other tips or tricks that you use to try and help, not tips and tricks, but just ways to help buyers maybe edge it a little more in competing offers? Because I know like there are people struggling out there right now with competing offers.
Yeah. So a lot of my clients, I start off with that conversation of like, okay, the house is listed at $300,000. Where do you want to start the offer? Oh, okay, well, we'll start at 320. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good number to start. How do you feel about 330? And then I watch closely. And I'm looking for their reaction to when I said 330. If it's yeah, we're okay with that. I'm like, okay, great. What about 335? Yeah, it's getting a bit closer. Okay, well, how about we put down 340? And
you want to find the pain.
Yeah, actually, that's getting quite a lot. I'm like, great. Okay, what about we put the offer in at 339? How would you feel about that? Because 340 clearly is like, that's when you see in their eyes the pain point, and they're like, oh, wow, that's getting kind of, tight.
Yeah.
And they just don't feel necessarily that the house is worth that. But then you go back to the initial conversation of like, okay, so you wanted to put in the offer at 320. We're going to go in at 339. But here's why we think 339 is going to work for you. Because when you said 320, you didn't really mean 320. So if you'd have lost that house for 324, how would you feel then?
Yeah.
Well, I would have paid 324. Right. That's why I'm asking you the questions here, to see how high you really want to go. Because the first challenge we're always going to have with buyers and buying a house is, I have to get your offer accepted.
Yes.
That's the first thing.
That's step one.
If you don't get your offer accepted, you're not buying the house. So let's move on and go and find somewhere else.
And the way the market is right now is such low homes for sale.
Yeah.
If we lose this one, are there anything else available that you like?
Right.
And if there isn't, how long until the next one comes that you like?
Yeah.
And how many offers are going to come to place to get it? Because that's the question I'm asking all my clients now. If there's nothing else, I have 2 clients right now where my searches for them, they have no homes. No homes match what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So it's like, as soon as something comes, the only thing we can do is write the best offer we can, because it's just how long? How long until the next one comes?
So here's some of the other questions that we start asking as well when they start going, 339 versus I only wanted 320, is how long do you want to wait for that next house to come up? And is it worth waiting for $19,000 of dollars of money? Because realistically, in the next, say, the average buyer now, they used to say buyers move every 3 to 5 years. Right now, we're more like 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
So you kind of go, well, how much is that $19,000 worth over the next, say, 5 to 7 years on a mortgage payment when you love this house, you love it so much, you're going to put an offer in and potentially write the letter to the seller to say why you should get that offer accepted versus the other 6, 7, 15 people.
Exactly.
So it's not really about the money. It's about the time that you're going to have to wait to try and find that next one. And guess what? We could be in the next one and now we're up to 350, 360 because the market has just progressed.
And to see the escalation in average home price from May to now.
Oh yeah,
it's been the gains have just been. Yeah.
So let's go back to Little Richard being the first year real estate agent.
2012.
Yeah, it's like average price of 272.
Oh my God.
We're 423 now. So you kind of look at that situation and we know that it's the average. So yes, somebody in the South End sends a $10 million mansion. It's going to bring the number up. But we're only talking about selling 590 homes here. So 3 or 4 of those $1 million plus South End Halifax houses are not going to swing the needle that much.
No.
There's so many homes within that 590 homes that have sold all over the place. So we're going from mobile home $70,000 ones all the way up to, I think there was one that sold for $4 million in the South End.
Yeah.
And everything in between. So, it takes a lot to swing the average. So when you start seeing a 423 average, there's a lot of houses in and around that number that have sold that make the average because it's the normal distribution kind of situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you end up with the outliers. But when I was 280, for an average purchase price.
I bet you people thought it was high in 2012.
It's always high.
It's always high. It's never not.
It's the same thing. People buy houses, whether it's ridiculously cheap or crazy expensive.
Yeah.
People buy houses. Same thing when you look at people buying houses with a mortgage interest rate of 17%.
Yeah. Oh my. The 80s.
Didn't kill the market. People were still buying houses. So it's just, this is now the new norm.
Yes.
The bigger question is, what's going to happen? Are we going to see a new norm like in 5-6 years time when prices drop? And I just can't see it happening. I think we've been undervalued for so long that this is now true value.
I see us stabilizing.
Yes.
I see us
a little bit of flattening off of
I
price.
think we flatten.
Yeah.
And I keep an eye on CMHC and what they're projecting.
Yeah.
Because they're projecting 1 million foreclosures across Canada.
Wow.
Due to COVID-19 fallout.
Yeah.
When all the mortgage deferral programs finish.
They start finishing the
Yeah, because they start finishing in December, January, February.
Yeah.
So they're predicting a large fall, which unfortunately is awful for a lot of families and stuff.
Absolutely.
But that just might be the wave of inventory we need.
Yeah.
Another thing to think about with COVID-19 and the impact it had on the Halifax market that I've considered is monumental was I remember in the market January, February when I was out with buyers. And I was telling buyers, there's nothing available. And we had 1,400 homes for sale in all of HRM. There's nothing on the market. Don't worry. Wait for spring. Something will come.
Wait for spring.
The amount of buyers and clients I said that to in February, wait for spring. And then spring came and
all of a sudden, we're done. We're not showing houses. Yeah.
I remember it because it was just like, I was counting on it. And then March 16th, I'll never forget because it was my first, we had, and this is a kind of a detour, but a little bit of context was my first, I had a friend and I were going to do this podcast on March, our first episode was going to be March 16th in the public library studio because they have a full automated studio for video.
Oh, nice.
That was we were supposed to go in at 6 p.m. to 9.
Yeah.
That was the day that Stephen B. Neal closed down the province.
And said, we're done.
Yeah. And I booked that 4 weeks in advance. I had everything written. I had the guests ready, done. We were going. And I remember, I'll never forget the day because I also went to look at the stats and we were at 250 new listings in the last week before. And then the next week, 51.
Yeah. It was interesting. I started monitoring because of COVID-19, how many conditionals came back to active.
That's a good stat too.
So in other words, what was the fallout from people either having to be furloughed or take a reduction in the amount of hours?
Yeah.
Because that absolutely would impact your ability for financing and buying a house.
Yes.
And it was like for the first probably 3 weeks after that March shutdown of everybody working from home, that's when all of a sudden you're like, wow, a lot of these conditionals it screws your stats up a little bit. Because
yes.
Like, what do you mean there was like 1,500 houses and now we're down to like 1,000, but the next week there's another 250, but only 10 got listed?
So many numbers.
So it kind of showed up there for about, I think it was about 5 weeks when all of a sudden, tracing who was conditional and coming back to, in other words, they didn't go conditional sold, they went conditional active.
Just for a bit of context for anyone listening who doesn't understand conditional.
Yes.
Conditional just means someone wrote an offer on a house.
Yeah.
There was an accepted offer, and then you have to fulfill conditions. So financing, inspections, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to firm or sold, that means the house usually comes back to market because conditionals failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the fallout that we really started seeing. And then I think what happened then is with all the restrictions and obviously the nervousness about I'm allowing all these other people to come into my house, that's when it really hit home with sellers. And a lot of sellers went, I don't need to sell. Fully enough, I also can't find anywhere where I need to buy. I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's what killed our spring market.
Killed us. I've been tracking the new listing stat week by week every Monday since end of March, I think. And only 1 week since March have we had over 200 listings. And I think it was like 201.
Wow.
201 new, and buyers have been consistently accepted offers, conditional sales have been like 230, 240, 250 consistently week over week.
So everything that comes on, we're basically
gone.
And it's not the same houses, but it's more than the number of houses we're putting on the market.
And which is how you get that fluctuation of we have 1,300 homes for sale in May, and now we're down to 700 in December.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, it hurts.
Because we're just what they call eating through the inventory.
Yeah.
And we also have to remember that some of these new houses that are coming up for sale are just the builders putting up the facsimiles, and it's not even built yet.
No.
Like talking to the builders, I was chatting to one guy yesterday, and he's like, we've basically already filled August next year with 26 closings. So they've shut down August next year for closings and said, no, we need to start booking in October now.
And don't forget the price of lumber.
Yeah. And plastic.
Yeah, the
Windows and doors, they've gone up.
everything's gone up
Yeah.
since the COVID-19 has impacted new builds so much in terms of like how I don't know the stats specifically, but I know that like they've seen a huge increase, which has only increased the price point. So you're talking about like the influx of price points, and it's across every piece of real estate. Even condos are selling.
Yeah.
Single family homes are obviously the biggest deal, but like mini mobile homes are selling at ridiculous prices.
Yeah.
And I say ridiculous only because we haven't seen these price points before. But as you say, and I stand by this, if a buyer buys it, then it's worth the value.
Absolutely.
Because buyers are so educated nowadays with the market,
Yeah.
they'll tell you whether something's overpriced or
they
not.
got so much more information than 8 years ago when I first started.
Yeah.
Because it's all there on the internet.
Yeah.
You just have to go and find it, So I think the other thing as well, because looking at the stats, when we talk about the new builds, you look at Bedford, which sold 56 homes, the area of Bedford. 30 of those were brand new builds. Not even a foundation, not even a hole in the ground. And they sold. Oof. So not conditional, not like I've got to get the financing and everything else. I mean, you can't inspect a hole in the ground. It's like, can I get the mortgage? It's basically it. But yeah, they're done and sold. So that's 30 homes that were effectively 0 days on the market, maybe 5-10 days, something like that.
Well, another thing with days on market, because a lot of people have been going by days on market with that statistic. And I always like to bring up to my clients, listen, right now, I go by the average. I think when you say 32, you go by the median. They're two different, they're two different stats. Like I know for the average in HRM right now is 7.
Yeah.
If you do I know the median's 32.
Yeah.
You can get your stats for every one per se. But what I do is tell my clients is, listen, that stat would be 1 or 2 if realtors weren't giving you 4 days to write an offer. If you didn't have that buffer to get in the house and view it, that number of days on market would be 1 or 2 because it's going that quick.
Let's also talk about, kind of what Ontario call a bully offer, which is agent lists the house.
I've written 4 of those.
Yeah. They're interesting.
Never won.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can just, frankly piss the seller off because they were like, and sometimes I've even dealt with one agent where they were like, if anybody sends me that, I'm immediately telling the seller, just don't deal with that agent because we're not playing fair, so to speak.
Wow.
So I feel sorry for this client because I've been working with him now.
Wait, we went over it. So what is a bully offer first? And then we'll get into
a bully offer. So agent lists the property and says, all viewings to start on Friday. All offers to be in by 5 p.m. Sunday, leave them open until 10 p.m., meeting with the client to present the offers at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
That typically means, okay, everybody, you've now got 3 days to go through the property, prepare your offers, and it's going to be multiple offers, but, basically get your offers into me by Sunday, 5 o'clock. Somebody else walks in who's a realtor and says, okay, I understand that. Thanks very much. However, you want $300,000 for your house. I'm going to give you an offer right now. I want you to accept it by 7 p.m. tonight, and today's like 5 p.m. I'm going to give you $50,000 over asking price. I'm only going to have inspection as a condition, but I need you to cease and desist all marketing. Don't let anybody else look at the house. Sign this offer now.
Oh, I'm not that aggressive.
That's a bully offer.
That's a bully offer. Okay,
you talk to anybody in Ontario, well, Toronto, GTA, more than anywhere else, but that's how they're having to deal with it because, the Ontario agents are like, oh, finally, Halifax Realtors, you've finally seen what the real market's like. Welcome to my world for the last 5 years. So that's the true bully offer.
Okay.
Where it basically says, I understand your instructions. However, I don't care. I'm going to give you $50,000 more. I'm going to remove all conditions apart from the house inspection.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the person's been through the house, they might even say, actually, I don't care about the inspection. I didn't see anything that scares me. I'm good. So in other words, 0 conditions.
I was going to say the 4 bully offers I wrote were all with one client and they waived every condition on every offer.
Yeah.
And they lost every time, which was, and I never thought I'd see a day where someone waived a cash offer with no conditions.
Oh yeah.
But
so that's the bully offer. It's basically bullying the seller into accepting their offer because they're like, oh my God, I've got one offer. So number one, I don't have to deal with 16 offers on Sunday at 7 p.m. or whatever.
And there's no way someone can get out. If you have no conditions, that's it. You
are firm day one.
As soon as you sign the offer, your house is sold.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no inspection. There's no financing.
Nope.
There's no risk of that deal falling apart and you going back to market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from a seller point of view, you're like, okay, hang on a minute. I get $50,000 or whatever the number may be more. It might only be $15,000, but it's still more than you were actually expected to get. I'm sold right now, so I can start packing my bags and planning my future of where I'm going to go. So long as the closing date, which is usually, especially in a bully offer, the closing date is seller to decide closing date.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
There is no, I want my closing date of the 1st of January. It's like, well, you tell me when you want to close. So you fill that blank in.
Exactly.
So it's literally everything possible a seller could want.
Yeah.
What upsets a lot of the other realtors, though, is that all of a sudden they never even got a chance to get their buyers through the house.
Yeah.
So when the people then find out who actually was the agent that sold the house, all of a sudden there's a little bit of that bad will where people could be like, come on, really? You're going to start doing that to us today?
Well,
so, and then maybe you get into the conversation with the seller of, is that offer actually in your best interest?
Yeah.
What if somebody coming through and would have offered you 365?
Well, that's a listing agent's job.
Absolutely.
That is the selling agent to be able to have that conversation to say, listen, if he's offering 350 up front before anyone else does, imagine what the other we're fully booked for viewings from Friday, if going by your example.
Yeah, exactly.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're booked through.
Yeah.
That's it. 8 to 10 p.m. We have everyone in half an hour intervals because that's all anyone's allowing right now.
Yes.
So
exactly.
do the math. How many buyers are coming through?
Looking. Yeah.
Even if you catch half, that's probably 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those 20, as soon as you tell someone and we all know this happens all the time, but if the offer is due at 2 p.m., by 10 a.m. Sunday, you get the email. One offer in hand.
Yeah.
10:02, 3 offers in hand.
Yeah.
10:10.
Yeah.
4, 5, 10, 12. And suddenly you're looking at 22 and you're like, and those 22 people all then have to go home and try to evaluate what offer to write and what number to put on a paper
and it's
to
hard.
win.
Like a lot of the buyers are looking at us as realtors saying, well, what should we do? And that's when I introduce that conversation of, well,
where's the pain?
Where do you want to start? Right, now let me keep pushing you until I think you've finally hit that pain point where you're like, no, if it sells for even $500 more than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
I do not want it for anything more than that. Now, admittedly, $500 is like, it's not really much.
On a mortgage, it's not. It's not going to change your payments.
But they do have to be like, at what point do you want to stop?
Yes, exactly.
Because, we're not playing a game of roulette here. You do have to stop at some stage. And then, so the other question is, number one, there's the bully offer. But number two, what about things like there's something called an escalation clause, which is starting to show up. Now, the escalation clause, again, we're learning all these techniques from the guys in GTA where they've had to deal with this for the last 5 years, which is we will beat any currently presented offer to the tune of X dollars over and above, so long as the offer is actually shown to us to be a true and valid offer. So in other words, you can't make up the fact that
that's amazing.
$340,000 offer.
I had a seller do that to me.
Right.
I had a seller and it was a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
And every time I wrote a new offer, he came back, gave me a call and said it's 10 grand more. I have an offer for 10 grand more. I have an offer.
Do you want to match it?
3 times.
Yeah.
I have an offer for 10 grand more. Do you want it? And finally, I just said to my clients, if he has an offer for 10 grand more, give it to him. I don't want to give, because I don't know.
Yeah.
We wouldn't.
Well, that's why you got to, if you put it in the agreement.
Must be shown the offer.
You have to, as part of the acceptance of your offer, with the escalation clause of 2 grand over and above whatever the highest accepted or the current highest presented offer would be.
Yeah.
There still has to be the condition in there that says
must be shown.
Must be shown. Now any realtor can blank out the name of the person that sent the offer.
Yeah.
I just want to see that front page.
That's it.
That shows it's a proper bona fide legit offer.
Yeah.
With the price on there and the fact that there was a deposit and the fact that there was a closing date.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
blank out all the names and stuff. We don't care.
Well, yeah, because when you write an offer like that, and this is my first time hearing about the escalation clause, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
But when you write an offer, that's like writing an offer, presenting it to the seller, and leaving the amount blank.
Yeah.
So that's sketchy because you could be like, oh, they're just gonna fill in whatever number they want.
Yeah.
That gives me that's why you have to have that protection though for your client.
Exactly. It's like, show me the next highest offer because it was X dollars more than that offer.
That's an incredible strategy.
So, I mean, I tried to use that. I've tried to use it once. I've used it 3 or 4 times and we've had success. But one time it was actually the agent that said, yeah, actually, I'm not accepting that offer. Strip that clause out. And I was like, well, why? And he said, we've been advised by our broker of the office that if we start seeing these things coming through, we've been told that they're not legitimate clauses to actually have as part of the purchase and sale agreement, so take it out.
What? Can't you purchase and sale agreement? You can write whatever clause you want
Absolutely.
in it, as long as both parties accept it.
Correct.
It makes it a legitimate clause.
Yeah.
I know clients that have bought cars with their houses. I know people who have bought a lot of weird things with the houses they purchased because they decided
in the agreement and everybody agrees. Then that's good.
If the agreement of purchase and sale, which is what you use to write an offer on, if that says I want all furniture in the house and they accept, and they sign or initial the accepted offer, you get all the furniture.
Absolutely, yeah.
That doesn't make that clause illegitimate. That just means it's a technique that maybe Nova Scotians aren't used to.
And I think that could have been the situation, is that the agent has just never seen it and was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this.
You're supposed to take it to your sellers and run.
Yeah, basically.
If I'm telling you I'm going to give whatever your highest bid is, I'm going to give you $20,000 on top.
Yeah.
Isn't that now as we brought up about the letter and how it can be an emotional thing? They're not obligated to accept it. But if that seller is only motivated by price and getting as much return on investment as possible in their home, that's a fucking wicked deal.
Yeah. It works because all you're doing is basically saying, I'm comfortable with my offer to start off with, but if somebody bid $5,000 more than me, I don't want to lose it as
for
a buyer
$5,000.
for $5,000.
Yeah.
So I will put an extra 7.5 on the table, and therefore I've beaten them.
Yes.
And I've actually won the offer.
And that it sucks that we use the words beaten.
Yeah, it's not the best, is it?
But it is what it is. You're like they are literally called competing offers, and it sucks that you have to get in the mindset of, and you have to explain to your clients and try to instill in this mindset that it's no longer, as soon as you get competing offers, it's no longer about the value of the house. It's about beating everyone else in line.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question.
Oh.
What was the highest number of offers you competed against this year?
So
I'm trying to see if anyone can beat mine.
Right. So on the listing side, I had a place down in Spryfield and we had 16 offers.
Okay.
And that's the most we've had as a listing. Competing, I think the highest I've been against is 14.
26.
Ouch. That's a lot of offers. That was a popular house, clearly. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of houses. Yeah.
We were 27.
Good God. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, again, you get into that conversation with the buyers that are like, listen, we're against 26 other people. It's a roll the dice.
It's like throwing dynamite down a well and just seeing what comes up. You just don't know.
You have no way of even, and that's why it's so hard on the buyers when you're like, I don't know. Like, with the best knowledge and understanding we have of the market, you kind of just look at the clients and go, I don't know what price this is going to go for.
How could you ever evaluate it? You can
26, that's a lot.
You can bring in all the comparables. You can look at all the data. You can look at any number you want. When you get up, even when you get above 5.
Yeah.
After 5, that 5 number threshold, all legitimacy of home value. And keep in mind, this is important because a lot of people don't understand that sellers choose their price.
Yeah.
Buyers dictate.
Yes.
That's it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sellers pick the number, and then buyers, I promise you, because there are homes in Halifax right now who have been on the market for 100 days because buyers have told them your home is not worth it. I don't care what else is out there.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that price for this.
Yeah.
So when you get over 5, it's buyers who will dictate how much I'm going to spend, and you have no idea what the opposition is going to do.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So, to sum this market up, it's tough on buyers, really.
That's why we call it a seller's market.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How have you found selling? So we talk about all the doom and gloom of buyers.
Yeah. So selling, again, is it easy? No, not really. Because, equally, let's go back to the 16 offers on the house in Spryfield. I had to kick a family out of their house for 3 full days because I'm like, this is the way this is going to go. I don't want to be ringing you up, texting you, emailing you, saying I've got another one between 11 and 11:30. I've got a 1 till 3:30. So from an upheaval point of view, it's pretty disruptive on sellers.
Yeah.
Because you got to get them out of the house, and you may as well just say, look, can you go and stay somewhere else for 3 days? Can you go to the parents? Can you go to some friends?
Airbnb,
like, do whatever.
something.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, we shut viewings down at 7 p.m. so they can come back to the house at 7 p.m. But during the day, like we're trying to work from home here in COVID-19 situation as well. You're like, yeah, can you go and work somewhere else?
Oh, that's a struggle.
And like, not really. Like, it's called vacation. Take 3 days of vacation then.
Yeah.
So the selling has been a lot more straightforward, but just a lot more frantic. So equally, you're getting houses onto the market in a much, much shorter time scale.
Yeah.
So can you do necessarily as much marketing and pre-marketing advertising of the property coming to the market as you used to? No. A lot of times there isn't really the time, because we had the one we just listed actually down in Upper Tantallon. We had the conversation on Sunday. Tuesday morning, we're on photographs. Wednesday afternoon, it's on MLS.
Yeah.
I usually like 7 to 10 days to actually kind of go through the process and build up a little bit of like marketing steam, kind of coming soon type stuff. You just don't get the option for that.
You go. Yeah.
And then equally for the sellers, you know, they're like, well, what price do you think we should go on at? Because I've heard it's a seller's market. So some of the challenge can be, yes, absolutely, it's a seller's market, but let's not be crazy here. You know,
That's the thing.
Do you still want to sell the house? Yes. So here's the best market analysis that we've done on the last like 4 to 6 months. We're not going back to like a year ago.
No point.
No point. But 4 to 6 months, here's what your competition has been doing. Here's how long they've taken to go on the market and actually sell. Here's what they've sold for. So now let's look at yours and let's be sensible.
Yes.
Now, if we're sensible, you're probably going to get multiple offers.
Which will drive up the price anyway.
But it's not a guarantee that I can do that for you.
No.
Like we hope we go onto the market and we're just going to be at a sensible price.
Yes.
The buyers then and the viewings will dictate, did we go on at the right price for price, condition, location?
Yeah.
So thereafter, it's up to the buyers to decide, do they like our price or not?
Exactly.
So yeah, touch wood, he says. We've never had to do a price adjustment this year. We've never
Congratulations.
sold a house less than asking price. They've always been at asking or over.
So you're at the market average.
So I'm doing well. I'm at the market average. I'm doing okay. It makes it feel good. And equally, the sellers are always happy because they're like, yeah, that's a great price. Like I'm more than happy with that. So luckily, I've not had the clients that have been challenging on, yeah, actually, I want $50,000 more than that.
Because that's a very relevant and easy conversation for sellers to have now, because they almost feel justified by the market doing what it's managed to do in the last, probably since, I know we've been talking about that market being since June 2019, but even it still wasn't as hectic as it was. I think I felt the stress and strain of this market probably end of June, early July was when I was like, I just
7 days a week nonstop.
I don't know how to handle
working at 11 o'clock at night kind of stuff.
It was that, but it was just the franticality of trying to get in homes.
Yeah,
that
in
was
enough time.
That was the hardest thing, was seeing a home come to the market on Monday.
Yeah.
You get a text Monday at noon from your client saying they want to get in, and you go to showing time, which is how we book viewings, and you see it booked up for all of Monday, all of Tuesday, all of Wednesday. Viewings are presented Thursday morning, and you have to call the listing agent. You're like, can I go in after everyone?
Can I squeeze in somewhere?
Like, can you get... But then it's almost like, why would... It's hard to even, for a listing agent, I can understand why you wouldn't, because you're like, I have 28 viewings in this market. I'm going to get, but it's a wonderful, awful conundrum.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, for the year of 2020, whether it's real estate or life, you kind of go, it's been a real upside down, topsy-turvy year.
It's been fun.
That's one word. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that one.
If I don't say positive, Richard, I'm going to drink.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you do get to that point where you're like, touch wood, we've never had that kind of an issue this year where literally you've had to stop working for anything.
Yes.
We do go out and meet a lot of different people, but, again, we've been lucky for most part. For I think a lot of the realtors, I've not heard of anybody that's actually said, I've actually had, the COVID-19 illness. infection, whatever
Yeah.
it may be. So that's the good thing, is that all of the precautions that NSAR, so the Association of Realtors, plus the government have put in place, we've been fairly strict with how people are showing the house,
Yep.
as well as then when we meet clients.
COVID-19 forms,
Absolutely.
meetings usually done over Zoom.
Yeah.
Like
I've done a lot of those this year. Wow.
yeah.
Should have bought Zoom stock.
I got a buddy who like curses himself every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Airbnb, it comes out on the 10th.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
I mean, just
because it'll be flatlining now, but just wait. Like everything, stocks and shares will come back. So
they doubled the revenue.
Really? Already?
They doubled the revenue since March.
wow,
They're now projected at 32 billion, and they're
coming back strong.
They're coming in. Their IPO is projected being $50
Ooh.
per share on December 10th.
Okay.
Little tidbit for all those investors out
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Yeah. I'll give you some inside information.
I know, because I've been watching them for the year, being like, when are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Because the Airbnb market certainly got slammed good and hard.
Like
in terms of, that's I think also why we've seen a few houses come on the market.
Airbnb.
Where they're selling them like lock, stock, and smoking barrel. So fixtures, fittings, tables, chairs, crockery, towels.
A lot of condos. You see a lot of condos do that.
Yeah.
I know with Airbnb that if like, I always think about the supply.
Yeah.
And it's like, I heard a stat sometime last year. I don't know if it's true or not. I think I was reading an article by the Halifax Examiner, and it said that like if every Airbnb came back to the market in Halifax or HRM, we would have 2.5% of vacancy rate.
Oh, wow.
And I know we're hovering either a little below 1% now, which is why
we're doing really well.
Yeah. So I look at Airbnb like, man, if I had half of that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Before we go, we're gonna end on one last question.
Yes.
How many buyers have you had leave the market? Like just say, I'm done with it. I'm not having it. I'll come back in a year.
Not that many.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, some of them are definitely different timelines. So, depending on when they're moving here, depending on their plans about everything. I think I've only had probably 2 where we've actually had a real hard conversation.
Okay.
And they're like, do you know what? We just can't take this anymore. I feel sorry for the one client that I've got where, for whatever, we just keep losing out. It's that one client that every day you wake up and like, I've got to find him a house, And
don't we have multiples of those?
yeah, God, we wish. This guy is like, he's a friend of my son.
Oh, no.
So he's like the family friend.
Yeah.
And he's probably the first one of my son's group that's
buy.
been like, Richard, I want you to help me to find a house. So we've been looking for a while, and it's just, we can't get the offers to stick. Either it's, we didn't get in time. One of the houses at the weekend, we had until Sunday, 11 a.m. to send our offer in. No, 5 p.m. on Sunday. Spoke to the agent Saturday night, and she's like, oh, yeah, offers are coming in, but, we'll deal with them all by Sunday, 5 p.m. Spoke to her on Sunday morning. She was like, yeah, actually, we accepted an offer last night. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And I'm like, we're back to the drawing board again. So you have to ring him up and have that conversation. And he's just like resigned to the like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, so how else do you react? I know I had clients, I've had 8 people go back to say,
I'm out.
I'm at the age,
Yeah.
like I'm only 28. Like I'm not, most of my clients are first time home buyers, and I can understand the frustration. They're on month to month. They're not in a hurry.
Yeah.
They're not leaving per se, but they're like, we're going to wait for it to dial down. And I'm looking at them like,
find out next year.
I don't know if it's dialing down, my man.
Yeah. I mean, it's like everything. We don't have a crystal ball, so we don't necessarily know what 2021 is actually going to bring.
Sure shit didn't know what 2020 was going to do.
Nobody expected this. Even with COVID-19, we were like, oh, have we just shut down the real estate market? Well, no, the real estate market took off like a rocket. Yeah. So even with that as a possible, we're going to stop the market, just actually lit the blue touch paper and set it on fire. So, what's 2021 going to bring? I think you're right. I think it's going to be a little bit of flattening off of prices. I don't think we're going to see a lot of stuff going up. I think we are going to see more and more sellers go, oh, actually, let's do that price adjustment after 15 days because I got nothing.
I think the safety of the vaccine in the early part of the year.
Yeah.
I think probably the spring market will probably be later. Probably I'm thinking a later April, May again, not necessarily the early March or April like it was.
Yeah.
And I think the fall market is going to be huge. And I only say that because with sellers right now, particularly people who don't have to sell right now.
Yeah.
They don't want strangers in their home. We have
Yeah, true.
we have the
Yeah.
oldest population in Canada.
Yeah.
And I can understand why any seller would be hesitant to allow any strangers in their home to view, because it's susceptible to COVID.
Yeah.
So when that's done, I'm hoping that is able to give us the influx of inventory that we see a stabilization. I don't think prices are ever going down again.
No, I can't see it.
Now, hold on. I'm gonna rephrase that sentence.
Oh, okay then.
They will come. They might come down by like $1,000 or two, but we're not going back to what it was.
Yeah, we're not dropping like $40,000-$50,000
No.
off prices of houses.
No, that's not happening.
No, we're just going to see that, like I say, it's that flattening off, maybe a couple of $1,000s coming off, but nothing that anybody's going to sit there today and go, oh my God, I'm worried now.
I really, really need it to level off. These competing offers are they're getting to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go back to Little Richard in 2008. What multiple offers?
12.
What competing offers? 2012, sorry. Yeah.
Weren't you? Did you say 8 years ago?
Yeah, 2000. My math is amazing.
Accountant, right?
Yeah, maybe. It's been a while. So, like, go back to 2012, 2013, 2014. Maybe I did one multiple offer. Maybe.
Yeah.
This year it's been like, probably every second offer has basically been a multiple offer. And you're trying to get it done in enough time, but also you've still got to read the whole thing to go, okay, is there anything in there that I messed up on? So your level of concentration now is, number one, I got to do it quick because it's multiple offers. I got to get my offer in, and we only saw it 4 hours ago, kind of situation. But equally, God, you better read it like 4 or 5 times before you send it through for signature, because you're like, I better not have got anything in the wrong place. Like, did I try and do closing day on a public holiday? Those kind of things.
I did. You know what? I did my offer in. I did an offer in, I think it was September, and it was Labor Day weekend.
Right.
And I gave 5 days for conditions, and it was Friday night, and we were competing offers.
Yeah.
And we won. And I sent the paperwork. It was like 10 at night on Friday. And I sent the paperwork to the mortgage broker at like 9 a.m. the Saturday. And he called me back and he just goes, "You motherfucker." and I was like, what? I was like, what did I do? I just gave you money. He's like, you gave me 2 days to do financing. Yeah. Monday's a holiday. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Good luck. Have fun.
I was like, I can see if I can extend.
I'll extend to you on the second day though, rather than
I have to wait, right? I have to call. I had to call the listing agent, like, listen, I didn't take into consideration that it was a holiday on Monday. Yeah. I might need to extend for financing. Yeah. They can afford this house. Yeah. And it just so happened that we were not near their budget. Yeah. It was a healthy number for them.
There was a lot of room.
There was a lot of, so I was like, I assure you, like, we're good. Yeah. If it falls through though, if we can't figure it out, I might need to push it till Friday. And the listing agent was really understanding. But I remember getting that phone call and being like, oh, now that's something I have to watch out for in the future. Yeah. I have to watch out for public civic holidays. Yeah. Yeah, I did my first one a week and a bit ago where I actually said closing on the 27th of January, 2020. I'm like, kind of like, where you go back and you review the paperwork again, because you're getting towards like condition date, and you're like, oh yeah, condition dates, and you're looking at this going, we've already closed on the house because it was like 10 months ago. So I'm like, let's do an amendment. So that's the first time I'm like, 2021's coming. So start remembering those dates now, because if you're writing offers in December, you're not really going to close December. Chances are you're closing in January, February. Hey, I wrote an offer yesterday that I had a 2-week close.
That's quick.
I did not win.
Oh, wow. You didn't win 2-week close. Damn.
I did not win.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, again, sometimes you just have to go and like, well, look, what can we do?
Listen, the only thing you can do in this market if you're buying is understand that you're in it for the long haul. Yeah. If you manage to get something under ask, call yourself lucky.
Absolutely.
If you get yourself into a home where you're not competing, count yourself lucky. Yeah. If you can get in on your first offer, count yourself lucky. Yeah. Because most people, it used to be with buyers a 3-month journey. You meet them. Yeah. You get them to the paperwork. You start showing homes. Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks to go through 2 weeks to go through due diligence, and then you have 6 weeks for the sellers to get up and out. Yeah. And now it's I've had buyers with me since June, July. Yeah. Now
you're still going.
Now we're just good friends. we just hang out.
Yeah, it's like, feel like looking at a house today? Yeah, sure, why not?
Now I just got to know them intimately.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing is we spend so much time with buyers now that they are literally turning into almost like long lost friends because you're like, okay, like, what are you doing on Saturday at 12 o'clock? I don't know. Do you want to see that house? Yeah, sure, go on then. And it's getting into that status where you're kind of like, I'll bring the coffee type thing and let's go and look at houses again.
Exactly. I started, I'll finish this little tidbit, then we'll call it a day because I know you got to go.
Yeah.
But I called someone today, a client who's been in his house for 6 months now.
Right.
And I was like, hey, you've been in the house for 6 months now. Like, how crazy is that? And we started laughing. I was like, remember when we were looking for 8?
Yeah.
You haven't been in your house for as long as you were looking
for a house. Yeah.
And then
it's the same thing with a lot of the clients now. It's like it's just going to take that much longer.
Yeah.
So just get ready for the long haul. If you can find it when you're kind of in that second week, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Because, you can find the house. It's a question of are you going to get your offer accepted
exactly
on that particular house. So, yeah, a lot of my clients that bought like 2 years ago I'm talking to are like, yeah, thank God we're not looking now.
All the time.
Yeah.
I know a realtor had a client by May 2019.
Yeah.
And he had to sell December 2019.
Oh, wow.
And because he got transferred for work. And the seller made $40,000.
That's not bad.
And he held it for 7 months, I think. And you're just like, oh my, the returns in this market is.
Yeah. And it's that same thing. It's like, if you bought something in 2018 and you've already got somewhere to go, like 2020 was a great year to sell your house.
So the way the stats are going, early 2021 might be a great time to sell too.
It might be the same. Yeah.
And until I haven't seen it yet. New listings outpace buyers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since March.
Yeah.
And I'm just, in terms of like us and buyers, I just look at it like, please soon just like give me like one grain of hope for clients that like new listings per week can outpace buying for like just a week. Just something to tell me that, there is a light.
Yeah. At the end of this tunnel.
And now, finally, I know I said last question, but we're having a good conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good.
Have you noticed a drop off in the last few weeks at all? Have you noticed maybe a little calmer going into December?
Yeah, last week was the first time I started seeing houses that actually were doing price corrections.
Yeah.
And equally, we've seen a little bit less going conditional compared to some of the stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is I'm starting to see more emails coming through to me that have matched criteria for the clients that we've got that are buying.
Good.
So, chances are you'd see like one email a day.
Yeah.
Great. One person had one match on their property search and I got one email.
Yeah.
Now I'm up to like getting anywhere from 7 to 9 emails a day.
Oh, good.
For the search results. Yeah. So that tells you that the houses that people are looking for, my clients look for especially, are actually showing up ready to go. So you're like, great, there is light that more listings are coming up. I'm not seeing, because some of the properties as well in certain areas, I actually want to see what's going conditional, and I'm not seeing as many of those show up.
Yeah.
Like in particular, you want to concentrate on your area. So anything that has a status change, in other words, it went from active to conditional or conditional to sold.
Yeah.
In Fall River Market where I live, I want to see.
Yes, it's your market.
It tells me what's going on. We're on whatever day of the week we are on Wednesday. And I've not seen for like 2 or 3 days, I think I've only seen one Fall River house go conditional.
Huh, okay.
And I'm like, we don't have 200 houses active.
There's a little
but, it's kind of like just little things like that would give you an idea as to what it's actually doing day by day by day.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, well, it's the end of the month. Let's look at stats for the previous month.
No, you got to track it day by day.
It's 30 days ago.
You got to watch it day by day, especially in this market, just to be able to get it, like, because it's only getting hotter, it seems.
Yeah.
Now there was a fall off, thank God, in the last week or two, because I've noticed that too.
It's
It's December.
Yeah.
Holidays, families, not that we can all get together and stuff, but there's the time of the year. And just being able to, I've noticed that like I can book an inspector at a reasonable time. I can call someone and say, hey, I need you Wednesday.
Yeah.
Today is a Saturday. And they're like, oh do you want morning or afternoon?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you really like me that much?
Oh yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get you some chocolates for Christmas.
I'm bringing you donuts.
Yeah.
I will end with this last story. It's funny. And then we'll call it a day for the third time.
Okay.
At the height of this market, June, I was in a house, and I'll never forget. It was an old single family home in Lake Echo.
Right.
And the reason I'm telling this story is because it's just an idea to give an idea for context of how crazy the market was.
Yeah.
It had a basement, had a main floor, and it had a single spiral staircase heading up to the master bedroom.
Right.
And I'm leading my clients up. I'm going first, and we're going up the spiral staircase. And this master bedroom is one floor. The bathroom's to my right, and the bedroom's to my left.
Yeah.
The bathroom was open concept.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Never seen anything in my life. And I turn around to my couple. It's a couple buying, and I say, "How comfortable are you with each other?" And they, why? And I say, well, there's nothing blocking the toilet. There's no wall. There's no door. This must be a bachelor.
You get to see it all.
And the closest bathroom is 2 floors down in the basement.
Yeah.
And it's your only bathroom with a shower.
Wow.
And they decided not to buy it.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
And we went to the next house, which is the one they ended up buying. And we were in there with the inspector. And they came back that there was mold in the attic.
Right.
And the roof was faulty, which is fine. We negotiate that down. It's not a problem at all. And my client's face dropped. It's first time buyers. They hear of a roof and their faces fall 40 stories.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, we either deal with this or we go back to that one down the road, the open concept bathroom, and making a joke, making it lighthearted. And the inspector whips around and he goes, the one with the open concept bathroom, the main master bedroom? Yeah. You been in there? He goes, I was in there yesterday. It paid $20,000 over asking. It's gone.
Wow.
And I thought, and I looked at my clients and said, if that's selling, you don't have a hope.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that is selling,
we just need to negotiate about the roof here. Let's figure this out. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Like, and that's the good thing with real estate and being realtors is we see all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff.
Oh,
like
man.
Some things just blow your mind. You're like, why did you do that? But somebody somewhere will be like, that's cool. I want it.
Somebody there's a taste for everyone.
There's a house for everyone.
And if not, someone has enough money to knock it down.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are very comfortable with the bathroom being open, so there you go.
I hope it's just one person.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives me the
yeah, nobody we deal with.
Yeah. Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. You can come back again anytime you want.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll arrange it.
Thanks, Richard.
Cheers.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you want to get in touch with Richard, you can reach him at 902-489-1804 or richard@richardpayne.ca. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at 902-220-7357 or jason.paul@kw.com. Thanks again. Bye.